The palace was shrouded in rain and secrets. The night whispers first turned in. Buckingham's gilded corridors had seen wars of words, clandestine affairs, and royal betrayals, but nothing like that. At the heart of it all was Camilla, the woman history once underestimated, now allegedly weaving the most sinister plot the monarchy had. As King Charles lay weak, tethered to his health into the discreet hands of his personal doctor, a silent war was brewing behind the velvet curtains, a war for the very crown. Insiders claim Camilla's shadow had been creeping closer to the medical wing for months, her visits cloaked under the guise of concern, her whispers to the doctor growing bolder each. By the time the king's health began to spiral, unexplained fatigue, sudden fainting spells, and abrupt changes in medication, the lines between care and conspiracy documents, later described by palace sources as encrypted medical directives, were allegedly slid across mahogany desks in the These were no ordinary treatment adjustments, these were, some say, the keys to Camilla's ambitions. Had long been questioned, but this was a game of life and death. The doctor, a figure once seen as loyal to the Hippocratic Oath, became the silent axis of a danger. Was he coerced? Was he complicit? No one could say for sure, but as the king's private health files began to mysteriously vanish and new prescriptions were handwritten in a rushed, anxious scrawl, the whispers among royal aides turned into frantic calls for investigation. William, ever the dutiful heir, was said to have stormed into the royal infirmary one stormy evening. Witnesses recalled the air smelling faintly of rain and burning paper, a sign that someone had recently destroyed. "Where are my father's records?" he demanded. No answer came, only the uneasy shuffling of papers, the sound of a printer jammed mid-page, and a glimpse of a royal crest on a partially shredded. The palace spun its official narrative, the king is under routine observation. But behind the scenes, emergency meetings were being held in soundproof. Meghan and Harry, estranged yet oddly informed, were rumored to have received copies of the missing medical directives, a leak, some suggest, from an insider sympathetic to their cause. This wasn't just about health anymore. This was about succession, wealth, and a will that, according to one high-ranking aide, had been revised under questionable influence only weeks before. Then came the blood. A leaked lab report, authentic or fabricated, no one could tell, allegedly showed traces of an unprescribed substance in the king's bloodstream, a medication that slows the heart subtly, a drop here, enough to make him dependent, too frail to challenge decisions, too tired to question why his reign was slowly slipping into Camilla's grasp. The doctor, summoned for questioning by an emergency royal council, vanished the next. His office was cleared, files gone, phone switched off. Camilla, on the other hand, appeared in public later that week, pearls shining, smile intact, hand resting possessively on the king's shoulder, as though daring the cameras. Was this an attempted overthrow? Or a desperate queen to be safeguarding a future she had fought decades to claim? Those who knew Camilla best say she had always played the long game, and now, with a frail king and a doctor allegedly in her pocket, her game board was nearly. The climax came during a midnight audit led by William himself. Security footage, grainy, time-stamped, and almost certainly edited, showed Camilla leaving the Royal Medical Archives with a black folder in hand. The next morning, that folder was nowhere to be found, but a sealed envelope with the king's crest appeared in the royal solicitor's office, marked urgent testament, final review. Bloodlines, signatures, and oaths, all were now weapons in a war no one had officially. The queen consort's inner circle whispered of a new era, one where the crown would bypass William temporarily for stability, installing Camilla as regent with unprecedented. Meanwhile, Charles, gaunt and pale, was seen signing papers with trembling fingers, his eyes vacant as though watching a throne drift away. If these allegations prove true, and the evidence, though fragmented, grows by the hour, this will not just be remembered as a scandal. It will be etched in history as the night medicine became monarchy, and the doctor's pen wrote a new destiny for it. And so, as the rain continued to hammer the palace windows, the question echoed through every hall, from the kitchens to the war rooms, was this care, or was this coup?